Lighthouse Financial built the plan and Jordan made it happen. We're breaking down the exact steps that took him from no savings and stuck in the daily grind to 20% deposit and owning his own home.
We are back in your life, and today's episode is a very special one for me. We have got my brother Jordan here, who is going to talk about how he bought a house with no savings. Jordy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think the trick is you just got to have real rich parents.
Yeah. That's the key. And then not take anything.
No savings, rich parents.
Was it your patent pending crypto strategy, trading strategy, Jordy, that bought you the house?
I tried Sharesies for like a month, but then I ended up just putting money in and taking it out like a month later.
Yeah.
So, it was worth a good try.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so Jordy, first of all, congratulations on the house that you've settled on a few weeks ago. How does it feel to be on the property ladder?
So good. It's good to have your own space. I was flatting for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And COVID was terrible.
Yeah. Flatting during COVID must have been hell.
So, and I had a broken leg at the same time. So just getting through that, and then eventually when I, moving from a 6-person house to just the 2 of us is always good.
Yeah. Tell me about the house. Where is it? What does it look like?
So it's a newly built, nicely black home.
Yeah.
Just around kind of, I like to say the southern border of St Heliers, but it's in
St Heliers South.
St Heliers South, otherwise known as Glen Innes. But it's
Remuera North, really. Yeah.
So it's somewhere in the middle. So it's quite cool. It's 2 bed, 2 bath, 2-story. Got our own kind of, parking.
Yeah.
A nice little front yard that we've got a room for like a barbecue, and it's got the best thing ever was the fake grass.
Yeah,
that was the one thing that I don't have to get a lawnmower. And the grass is just like self-maintained.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because it was raining for like the past couple of weeks, and I could just walk outside like an hour later and it's dry. So
yeah, nice.
It's really cool.
Do you know what I got him as a housewarming present?
Barbecue?
A Ring doorbell, which I think is really good because your house is quite close to the street. So it's good to have like something in front, especially with your barbecue at the front, right?
Yeah, and also your partner can watch when you come home, and you can't say otherwise.
No, probably the best reason I use it is deliveries. So I can actually see when, because I got stuff from like Mocha and Mitre 10 and all stuff delivered that it actually told me when they got
Mitre 10.
Mitre 10.
Yeah.
I asked them, I said to Jordan and his partner Moon, I was like, since you guys have settled on the home, how many times have you been to Mitre 10? How many times have you been, Jordy?
More than 10.
More than 10?
Yeah.
How many sausage sizzles have you had?
Like 3.
Yeah. Respect.
I think actually the key to a Bunnings or a Mitre 10 sausage sizzle is actually not to have it on the way out, but to have it on the way in. So you can snack while you're shopping and carry all the stuff on the way out. Pro tip for you.
Okay, well, Jordan, congratulations on the house.
Thank you.
I want to break it down though. So we've had your plan for, maybe like 3 years?
Yeah, just after I got back from Sydney. So that was 2022.
Cool. Okay, now it's 2025. So about 3 years. Before you had a financial plan, tell me what you were like with money.
Terrible. So paycheck would come in, paycheck would go out. It's the best feeling the day after I get paid to go, I'm rich.
And then the day after that, you're like, damn, I'm poor again.
Yeah, and I was semi-strategic, like most of the bills and stuff would come out the day after. But then you lead into like 3 days before the next payday, and I'm like, I'm eating noodles today.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing, which a lot of people relate with, it's not like you spend money on stupid stuff, right? It's not like you're going out buying lots of clothes. It's not like you're going on holiday on the all the time.
Fresh Lacoste shoes or something.
Look at these bad boys. I've sprayed these this morning.
Sprayed them.
No, you don't want to damage them, right? You don't want to scuff them.
Either.
Yeah. No, I never. It's a lot of it was food and Uber Eats. That was a big killer.
I reckon Uber Eats. Man, that is just like, I reckon if you want to savor a house, delete Uber Eats. Yeah.
It's a killer. You like nowadays it's normal for, $70-$80 delivery.
Oh no, yeah. And you don't get much for it.
Not much. And you end up stacking it up quite a bit. And it's getting like $10 delivery fee.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. But cooking became a lot better more recently. But that was like huge expense. Other than the odd travel flights, I never really had big expenses. I was just genuinely like, buy the odd lunch or, churn through the entire kind of fortnight salary in 10 days.
That's a really common thing we hear, right? It's like, I don't spend a lot. I don't buy heaps of crazy stuff, but the paycheck just goes and I don't really know where it goes. And like, I like that you're really honest about that because that, you know, a lot of people will be listening to this going, man alive, that sounds like a situation I'm in.
Yeah. And the good thing, it's pretty much every single person I talk to where they don't spend money on lavish stuff. They just don't have structure. And then it just kind of money goes in, money goes out. How did you feel about money back then? Were you stressed about money? Did you have goals with your money?
No, I didn't care. Especially during COVID, I just, you know, it wasn't that bothered with me. I had a credit card. Especially in Sydney, I had a car on loan that I was paying $200 a fortnight for in Sydney that I luckily got rid of when I moved. And that would just come in and go out. I just wouldn't be too bothered. I was still relying on kind of gifts and family a little bit because I was still quite young. But moving out and paying rent when you actually have your own bill made a little bit of a difference and just stopped that kind of luxury of, you know, having the nice car. Or, you know, spending an extra few K on.
And the credit card, was that, were you paying that off? Were you in debt on that? What did that look like?
No, so that was like at some point I had 10K in the hole in particular. I think last year and then in COVID I had 6K in the hole in Australia that they never structured. I just pay the minimum or, you know, chuck a bunch of lump sum in and then throughout the month I just take it out again. Yeah,
I was the same in the UK. I still had a credit card back here and I was like, I'll keep it open just while I go over there just as like a bit of an emergency fund and just kept whittling away at it until it was the same thing, 10 grand in the hole. And I was like, I'd like pay a bit off, you know, or draw it out again, do this. And I never told my partner about it, just like kept it hidden. And then when we moved back, we went to buy a house and I was like, nah, some money will pop up. And you know what I mean? Like my luck will come through because it always does, right? And you're like, some money will come from around, I'll be able to pay it off. And it just like, my luck just ran out and like no money appeared because, you know, I'll be like, I'll get a tax credit when I get back or something like that. Just never eventuated. I had to come clean on it.
I always under the assumption that my bonus from work
but there's always something like a tax refund, a bonus, or something like that will happen. And, you know, and I was like, yeah, cool, this will work out. Didn't. Had to come clean. Horrible feeling.
I know. I was doing like the math in my head as well because it was like, 10K is what, you know, 10% of my salary. I can just, you know, it's only 10% of the year. It's a couple of months. I should just be able to pay this off, you know, in 2 pays, but you don't really take into account the rest you have.
Exactly.
And do you think like not like being too focused on your goals or anything? Because obviously, you know, people look at it and go like, you're young. If you start earlier, like you get the benefits of compounding returns. It'll really benefit you long term. Do you think it was just because you're young, you go like, I can take my finances more serious in the future?
Yeah, a little bit. A lot of people say that live your life, just go travel, go do what you want.
Who are those people? I don't
say that.
Where I was never really brought up to any structure. You just got to, you know, enjoy, be happy. And the only way you could be happy is obviously spend the money you have.
That's an interesting statement. Yeah, because I think a lot of people probably associate like being happy with buying things and spending money, especially as like, you know, we're kind of focused more around consumerism and like, you know, like if you go online, it's like people are showing off with their money. It's like that conscious consumption of like, look at me, I'm spending money. I wonder if a lot of people kind of think that like I have to spend money or that's how I enjoy myself. It's how I have fun.
Especially when you're leaving school, like people tell you take an OE, go outside, do something. And all these suggestions that come at you cost a lot of money.
Heck yeah.
That kind of societal pressure.
Yeah. And that's how they say that's fun.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, unsurprisingly, I was like, nah, we're not doing this. We're putting a plan in place. And the big thing for me was like, because I love you and I care about you, I want you to have like to set yourself up and to be able to have options in the future. Because I think for a lot of people, they get to maybe, I don't know, 35, they get married, they have kids, and then they go, I'm going to take my finances more seriously. But you can't fix your finances in 6 months. So I was really keen for you to have a plan. But that plan at the start was pretty straightforward, right? Like all I wanted to do is fix your KiwiSaver and get you regularly contributing to a managed fund. They were pretty much the only two things that we wanted to do at the start, right?
Yeah. So maxed out Kiwi and Super, Work Super. The theory was if I couldn't see it, the better off I was.
Yeah.
Especially seeing a larger balance in your account, you're more willing to spend it. So the more that James would take away, in a nice way, but in the security in the back of your head going, that's not going nowhere.
Yeah.
Like that's accessible, if I really need it, as well as this is going to get me a house, which is like the coolest thing ever, having your own place.
And I think seeing the, like when you start to see large balances, like you get a bit of pride. You're like, oh man, that's mine. You know what I mean? And that can be psychologically a real motivator for people. You save $1,000, it's a lot, but you might look at it and go, wow, I could spend that, And once you start to get some decent numbers, you look like you're making progress towards your goals. Not saying $1,000's not a great number or making progress, you're less likely to spend it, right? And often we get asked by people around, what's the best way to pay debt off or to save and this. I'm like, mathematically, I can tell you that you should pay this debt off and this debt first, but like maybe get some small wins on the board. Like maybe pay off the $500 credit card first or do something that you're actually going to register like, hey, I'm making progress, as opposed to just going, I mathematically should pay this off first and kind of go through it from that way.
Yeah, and that's the same thing when it comes to like maxing out your KiwiSaver contributions. That's not advice we give people, but the idea that the more money we can get out of your bank account, because essentially at this, like your paycheck is disappearing at the end of the fortnight, right? Like that essentially hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is at the start of the fortnight, you're starting with less.
Yeah.
So we've got your KiwiSaver contributions getting maxed at 10%. You're putting like 4.5% into your work super.
It was 8%.
Nice. into your work super. And then we had a amount going into a managed fund as well. The managed fund, we started with a automatic payment going into the managed fund, but the automatic payment didn't really work, did it, Jordy?
No, like I think in a couple of months I withdrew from it.
Well, you could change it, and it would be really easy to justify. I've got somebody's birthday, or I've got Christmas coming up.
It's always a thing.
Yeah.
My laptop.
So we made the change, right? And we moved you from a automatic payment to a direct debit. And the direct debit you can't touch. So there was no like something popping up. You just had to deal with it, right?
Yeah. The best thing was that it came out the day after my paycheck.
Yeah.
That I couldn't, tuck it away, or even working at a bank, I can decline it, but I never.
I love it. It's like, man, if I really want to, I can. Don't worry, I can do that.
It was
if you try.
Billions of dollars of funds around. I can decline that payment if I really want.
Just trying to make people proud. That it's possible. I can do it. And I wanted the house. I wanted the dream at the end of the tunnel. That. I was never ever, after that one time of withdrawing, I never did it again. I was quite lucky.
Were you ever tempted? Was the finger on the decline button and then the back end of the bank like, whoa, I could do it?
I had to ask someone nicely. No, I was never really tempted. I always had help if I really needed it somewhere else. But that was kind of my goal. I was really, really shy as well going into the first property purchase. Like, do I have enough? Do I need help? Can I do this by myself? Is it possible? And that's the confidence that James gave me, and from that process that it became possible.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So we had a 3-year plan, and the big thing I think a lot of people struggle with is they want to have success in 6 months, but we didn't have success in 6 months, right? We slowly built. Then we kind of went backwards because the automatic payment wasn't working. Then we made a change with better structure, and then it kept building, right? And we say this plan took 3 years. Realistically, Mike, you came in at about the end of year 2, and Mike and I were like, you can do this now.
Yeah.
But a big part of the story was you weren't ready at that point, were you?
Nah, I was quite comfy in my little spot. And I got into the routine of that's just how it is at the moment. It's nerve-wracking buying and having that much debt against you, and having your own place, and are you ready to prepare to look after yourself in your own spot? So I was shy, but I was glad I got that extra kind of nudge to get me there. And once I saw that property come up, I think we jumped at it.
Yeah,
within 3 days.
I think the location was a big component, because outside of that Glen Innes ones, we were probably talking areas that like a lot of your family lives around that area, opposed to some of the other areas
James and I just down the road.
At. Yeah, that's right. Ashby Pies around the corner.
Ashby Pies around the corner.
Did you hit Ashby Pies?
Not yet.
Oh,
What's
I tell you
Ashby
what,
Pies?
they're the best pies in the country. Tag Ashby Pies.
Yeah.
I just want to dig on that a little bit more, because I remember being quite frustrated at that point, being like, just buy the freaking house, Jordan.
Yeah,
What made you go, I'm not ready yet?
I think in myself, I didn't think I had enough.
Yeah.
That the cash available, I was kind of doing my head of thinking that the average price in Auckland was $1 million. I was like, oh my God, that's daunting. I still had the credit card hanging around, and I thought that was always going to shy me away from getting the approval for the mortgage. But that was thankfully never an issue. That was awesome. And
you're welcome, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Just the nerve wracking of having that conversation with your family as well, that they're happy for you. And then, setting up a home in New Zealand. I still have a lot of family back in Australia. And they always want that door open. And now it's, for a very long time at least, it's closed.
Oh, I wish I knew you were going to say that. I would have bought like an All Blacks jersey, or like a Black Caps jersey, or like a Warriors jersey. I would have bought a Warriors jersey.
The Wars are on at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of this has been like James has helped you, but Mike was is your mortgage broker and did help you work out the lending. Mike, Jordan's essentially gone, we knew he could do it, but he was like, I don't believe you that I can do this. That's probably like the most fun part of your job, isn't it?
It is. I mean, when we were at the end of year 2 and you were a little bit reluctant to do it, maybe I was kind of bridging the gap between you two a little bit and just trying to slow it down, because it was pretty obvious to me you weren't wanting to do it at that point, like, because we told you could have.
Yeah.
So my conversations with James were a little bit more like, let's just, let's just wait a bit. But like, I mean, from a mortgage perspective, that is our favorite conversation, right? Is like telling people you can actually do this now if you really want to. And you probably were in a position to do it before then anyway as well, to be honest. And like, I don't specialize in low deposit lending. We do have someone who does specialize in it. And like, you can do as little as like 5% deposits and stuff, So, that's, for a lot of people, they're so much closer than they think. And if you think about some of the things you're talking about as to why you wanted to have the house, like, getting your own place, making the next step, growing up a little bit, doing these things, you don't have to wait until you've got 200 grand in the bank to go do it. Like, everyone is a lot closer than they think.
So you got to the end of year 2, you weren't ready to do it. And then everything did end up happening quite quickly, right? I was still probably like feeling a bit burnt from the year before.
Yeah.
And even when you were showing a lot of interest, I was like, I'm not actually sure if he's going to go through with it. What made you go, I'm actually ready now. I want to buy.
I think it was the property itself, and getting the extra push from the people around me. So I think we decided we had dinner at East Eatery for like one Sunday night. And you literally...
I also run into you guys.
And all the time. That the houses were going quite quickly. I think we were looking at, which number looks good, which number kind of do we want. And I think on the Tuesday, we then decided, let's put an offer in straight away. And I was like, 10%, that's all right. That conversation at dinner in particular, and I'm quite... make a quick decision person. I think about it a lot leading up to it, but if I'm put under pressure, I'll just go, sweet, let's do it. And more casual in that sense, but that dinner in particular was the changer for me. I was still up in arms, but sitting around with your close family and your friends, you're just like,
Yeah. And probably the other thing that I'm guessing helped was the fact that it was a new build and you could say yes now, but it's not reality.
I know. This isn't happening tomorrow.
Yeah. Because I can't even remember. So you moved into the property in May. When did you sign the contract for the property? Can you remember?
It was like November last year.
Yeah.
So we thought it was going to be finished much later, maybe like August. They started off, and then they came back and said, "No, it's be finished in May." And we got a couple of really good viewings with Titus, and it was going up quickly. And then
I remember that actually, because someone said to me, so I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be finished in May," and I was like, "No, you told me," and I was like, "Nah, it's not, man." I was like,
"There's no chance."
I was like, "Nah, I'll give it like end of August at the earliest." You're like, "No, I actually think it's gonna be finished in May." And I was like, "Oh, I got on the blower to Titus." Like, "What do you reckon?" They're like, "Yeah, no, mate, this is happening." I was like,
it's quite quick. But meeting the solicitor, getting, having that, more formal conversation with Mike as well was actually really smooth. So
yeah, cool. All right, well, Judy, I'm keen to kind of go through the costs that you've incurred around buying a house, and then also your plans moving forward. And we will do that after this break.
If you're listening to this podcast and thinking, I'm in a similar situation, I want to buy a house, but I think I'm quite far away from it, well, reach out to Lighthouse Mortgages in the show notes below. We can talk to you about what you can afford, what property you should buy, and how quickly you can get on the ladder. Now, back to the show.
So, Jordy, a lot of people underestimate, I guess, the costs when it comes to moving.
Yeah.
Like maybe like in terms of legal fees, moving costs, but also you going from a flat to having to fill a house full of furniture as well. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so it's a fun process moving. Growing up, we moved a lot, and I would thought of myself as
Army kids.
Yeah. We were like professional movers.
Yeah.
But
pretty slick. Got it. Moving a bed takes half a day. If you got to move a bed, it takes half a day.
And we have like a Super King bed, and going to a little bit of a smaller house. That was fun getting up the stairs.
How'd you get up the stairs?
My lovely guy I work with called Damien Sharkey came over, and we
just ripped the wall off.
Yeah. We physically, because it was the getting it up the stairs was the hard part. We like scrum pushed it and bent it in half to go up the stairs. And
for those that are trying to understand what's happening, imagine like a townhouse with the stairs going up and then turning around and you're trying to get a king mattress up. Like it's just
the
mission.
base I'm worried about, man. Yeah.
Yeah, the base was actually in two parts. That was actually nice and easy. The mattress, we're lucky it was like half flexible. We might have done some damage to the wall, but after a bit of sweat,
it's yours. It doesn't matter.
So yeah, that's the thing I was not as worried about. The costs, the biggest cost was the solicitor. He was really, really good, but
they always are, man.
You get what you pay for.
To James's point, you pay for what you get, right? And if you're spending 7, 8, 900,000, $1 million, $2 million on a house, just pay a bit more for a better solicitor, right?
Yes.
And really what we're looking for, or what we find when people say the solicitor was really good, is they explained it to me in English that I could understand, because anyone can just send out the letter where it says, here's what it is on the page, like here's what the contract is, but you just need someone to explain the process to you and explain what's going on.
Yeah. The kind of the contracts and the settlement side was, he like genuinely sat us down and walked us through it. It was quite good. The sale and purchase agreement was like a 30-page document.
Yeah, you don't read that. Yeah. We usually skim that. I don't usually skim the new build ones, but like I'll look for like sunset clauses, dates, that sort of thing, the key stuff. I'm not reading a new build contract there, literally.
So how much did the lawyer cost you? Do you remember?
The SFA was $3,000. Actually, I'm still waiting for the invoice for the settlement. But because I had some money sitting in the trust account, that kind of goes across and sits in. There was some left over, and then they take their portion, and then you get kind of what's left.
Right.
So I'm still waiting for that.
And how much cash did you get from the bank?
I got $6,000 for cashback.
Cool. Okay. So if we're thinking
really
like that's probably a big thing, right? People think they need to stump up the fees for the lawyers, but you're getting some cash from the bank when you get a mortgage.
Like with the new builds, you use a little bit at the start for doing the due diligence, and you usually have to pay that out of your own cash.
Yep.
You'll also need the register valuation, runs to about $1,100-$1,200 at the upper end of it. And then your settlement costs are usually covered by the cash contribution you get back. So that might be your completion certificate and your lawyer's settlement stuff. Yeah.
And what about like all the furniture and all that stuff? How much did that cost you?
A lot of shopping. We spent just over $10,000 in redoing the house, which is like really good. We've actually as well built our own wardrobe, which is quite cool. I know.
I would not do that.
And James's flat packing skills was
James doesn't do that. Mike does that for James.
Yeah, I've said to my wife, there's only one way we get divorced. It's ever if you get flat pack furniture and you give me an Allen key. Like it's just these are supple finance hands.
Yeah,
and I'm not going near any DIY skills.
But we love it. We had friends come over. We built entertainment units. We built coffee tables. We built bedside tables.
Yeah,
we went off. It's so much fun. Yeah.
My anxiety is going up just thinking about this. Okay, so you spent about 10 grand, and that was also like fridge, washing machine, dryer, all that kind of stuff.
Was easily 4.5 by itself.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to quiz you on this, Jordy. So you bought a house. What's the plan going forward?
Structure. So we just set up to Pocketsmith over the next wee while. We've got
What is Pocketsmith?
Pocketsmith is like an account monitoring system where it's allowing you to upload your data and viewing that your financial planner can lovely see. And it can actually see where you're putting your money. So it categorizes, what's your bills towards your phones and electricity, what's your, personal savings, what are you putting away for yourself as well, that it kind of shows you that and puts it in a nicer display for you.
Cool. And then we're also saving money for travel, right? Like we've got a travel account. We're regularly putting money aside because you're going to Thailand. Are you going to Vietnam next year?
Yeah, going to Vietnam in August. I got Sydney. Christmases, could do the old family fun. We're still, young, still want to go a fair bit. The goal is to go to Europe at some stage.
And that's a really big one as well, right? A lot of people go, if I buy my first home, I'm not going to be able to do these things. But it's really just around having a budget, having some structure, so you can get on the property ladder when the market's down. You can have this asset grow. You can pay down your mortgage, but you can go have some fun as well.
Yeah. And the other thing is you can't do these things if you overextend yourself, right? And like if you are... If you're thinking my money management style or personality is similar to Jordan's and maybe to Mike's, maybe you shouldn't overextend yourself on the house because you will end up getting in trouble because you don't have any buffer in between those mortgage repayments and your expenses. You do not need to go out and max yourself out on a house. You can get into a house and still live a life.
The other bit, Mike, is on the mortgage structure. So Jordan's paying a lot more than the minimum, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, which... Again, if you've got a good budget in place, that's pretty easy. The temptation is to go, I'll take the minimum and then, it'll all work itself out over 30 years. That is bad. You do not want to do that. Please, just this debt should not be hanging around for 30 years. You got to pay it off quicker than that.
Yeah. So fundamentally, Jordan's using Pocketsmith, so we're keeping him accountable. So a big thing for me is we had the direct debit. We're now losing that because he's got a mortgage. So we've negotiated, and it was quite thorough negotiations on how much we could increase Jordan's mortgage repayments to. We've set up bank account structure with automatic payments that we're tracking. And my plan is, because we've bought a house with the Auckland property market down 20%, we're going to pay down the debt. We're going to wait for the property to go up. Then we're going to go buy an investment property where we can add a little bit of value and keep Jordan's wealth creation moving along. Along with that, we wanted to make sure you've got some debt. You bought with your partner Moon. So we want you to have a bit of life insurance, a bit of income protection to make sure you're sorted. Because obviously you've got this big expense now and you need to make sure you're going to be okay if the worst were to happen.
It's always good. It's a good sense of security to have that too. And the end goal is, I want to join the property ladder. It seems so exciting. You guys are getting investment properties and expanding your world that I want to get into that. It sounds cool.
Cool. I mean, I'm so happy, Jordy, that you I can want the stuff for you, but you're the one that's got to put your name to the paper and got to be able to pull the trigger. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's really, really exciting. And thank you as well for coming on and talking about, essentially we asked you to come on this podcast for people who will know you to be like, yep, I wasn't good with money, but I've got a plan. And to show that vulnerability is very relatable. Yeah. And a lot of people will learn from this. So I'm really excited to get the feedback. Let us know in the comment section what you think, what your goals are. And it just shows that 3 years, it's not that long, and it's amazing what you can do.
Could have done it in 2.
Goes quickly, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, cool. Okay, all right, much love to Jordy for joining us. Much love to Lighthouse for sponsoring this episode. Make sure to subscribe, give us a review, give us a like, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.